All right. Hey,
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I am Shane with Lincoln Hills Cares, and I am really glad to be interviewing you today. Do you want to say hello and who you are? And
Well, for sure. I'm Beverly Grant, founder of Mo Better Green Marketplace. It's a 14-year-old farmers market, urban farming, education, community platform. And Shane and I have had the pleasure of working together, geez, probably 13 of those 14 years. Yeah.
this is a little bit hard for me because Miss Bev is a legend and is a good interviewer at the radio station and everything, and so this is a little bit new for me. So bear with me with the if I'm clumsy.
Man, we're gonna do our best.
And this is for what we're talking about is DEI in the outdoors. And I kind of feel like my career has been representing what they call the changing face of America's future, which they mean mostly in Denver. It's black and brown youth, lower income youth who haven't had the same opportunities to connect, whether it's because of not as many parks in their neighborhood. Outdoor recreation can be expensive. So, we've done this since groundwork, and it was at first funded by the EPA and the national parks, and now we're funding it in different ways. But if the idea is that we work with community to have this action in the outdoors, and that youth voices matter, and that for far too long, youth and neighbors who may be most affected by these issues of pollution or inequality have been excluded from the conversation. And so,
Yeah. I would say for me, what attracts me to wanting to be an activist and a point of connection with regard to environmentalism is the fact that um, environmentalism is at the heart of wholeness for each and every person. And so my entree into that has been food and farming because eating food and drinking water, believe it or not, are environmental acts that we engage in every day, and we wouldn't think of it that way. Um, Farming is some of our earliest forms of environmental stewardship, and so when working with communities that have fewer resources, that lack is pretty pervasive because you see it in the education systems, the public access systems like parks, neighborhood amenities. Um, Also, um, these areas may be under resourced with regard to food access. Um, you may be living in areas where pollution is higher, air pollution, water pollution, etc. And so this is why I say environmentalism is at the center of wholeness because environment begins at the home, like where you live, your surroundings. Then it transcends to your block, your community, your neighborhood, and then ultimately the open space, that all of this lives within. And when you are a person living with the least resources, maybe having poor, broken health, etc., enjoying the outdoors is kind of not on your mind. Your day to day, basic needs not being met, that's paramount. And so when we talk about increasing exposure in green jobs, for example, or environmentalism, we can't just start there. We got to start where people are disconnected and help with reconnection and then build from there. And so that's what I like about food. Um, it's a basic need that we all have. Um, when you start with eating clean, it's going to take you into farming because you don't have clean food without ethical farming. Ethical farming is environmental stewardship. And so it just kind of evolves and snowballs. Then, as you start developing that sense of earth care and earth stewardship, your mind is broadened. You start thinking about your neighborhood parks or waterways within the city or pollution indexes, trash, recycling. It spirals into those thoughts naturally once you embrace, um, stewardship. So, that's what I think, and I feel that the work we do with advocating to work with youth to broaden their exposure into environmentalism, to take them out of the city into places where they can fish or hike or ski, when this was never ever a thought in their mind. That's when we're really making connections and creating a foundation for change.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love the work we do, whether it's in the city, some people would say our urban backyards, or the mountain backcountry. And I grew up in a more rural, I guess, island kind of area, and then had a lot of outdoor recreation experiences growing up that, some in Alaska and Vashon Island, was really natural. And so it formed who I am as a person. But then I started going door to door. I carried this like out. I was a guide, teaching people on rivers, teaching people on mountains, and then I started going door to door. And at the time, Groundwork came to me, and they came to my door and offered energy saving services. And I had this idea that I was doing something good for the earth. And then I started going door to door, interviewing all the people who had experienced the same thing as I had. And for some reason, I had kind of made it seem like I'm doing the right thing, like this made me feel better about myself, I guess is what I was saying. And they felt like, the neighbors, a lot of neighbors here, they felt like they're saving money and they were feeling more comfortable in their home. And that was really life-changing for me in a way. All the community-based work has been really life-changing for me in a way, because it made me drop a lot of the kind of like ego or something. Like I felt like I knew best about like the recreation. I'm the guy, like on the river, the things is like and so when I got to meet people in their homes and meet them where they were at, it helped me to understand differently where nature and people connect. And like you say, we are what we eat, we are water, and that's in everybody. That's all of us.
Right. And, this is why exposure is important. Now, you were exposed to, outdoors just because of where you live. Now, conversely, when you look at people that have lived in the inner city who may live in like very small insular communities where they literally, some never leave the city, never even hardly leave their immediate neighborhoods. That's where, that's a lack of exposure. That, I think when you're able to experience nature, it helps enhance your ability to dream. It helps you see that the sun, the elements are healing to you, because when you're out of the city, you don't hear that constant buzz of traffic, you don't have that hustle bustle energy. It's a slowed down existence. The air is clean, the water's clean, the environment is filled with trees and just naturalness. That's a whole different experience that it was important to me to want to bring that into more and more people's lives, through, let's say, through summer programming, for example, like creating jobs where maybe you start out helping me on the farms or at the farmers markets, but as a part of your summer experience, you get to go hiking, camping, fishing, as a part of that experience. Then I feel good about being able to broaden experiences and exposures for youth that ultimately lead to them dreaming about their place in environment or making change or being a leader.
Yeah, I did too. And we work together, employing youth, connecting youth in the city, urban farms, markets, farm stands. This is for diversity in the outdoors initiative, and so we're talking about equity, we're talking about justice. How does, in your work, equity, justice, how do these type of initiatives or ideas flow through?
Well, in my case, they are ingrained in the foundation of the work. So, equity and justice. Um, Looking at the fact that BIPOC community members bear the unhealthiest statistics when it comes to health, they're in the categories of living in neighborhoods that have little to no food access, high pollution, etc. Bringing my work into those areas and exposing people to those opportunities, creating food access and experience opportunities, that is my way of bringing justice and equity. And in the 14 years that I have existed, I'm happy to say that many of the youth I've touched over the years have circled back to sometimes bring their younger siblings,
Yeah.
or to tell me that their experience with me influenced their ability and desire to want to go to college, or their major, or sometimes even their career. You know, I think about Madison, who we both know, who now has a bustling career in public health.
Yeah.
And it was strictly because of the equity and justice lessons she learned firsthand, you know, doing the food and environmental equity work we were sharing.
Yeah, I think of Vivian and Braylon.
Yes.
I think, it's so many. Michaela
So many.
Malaka,
Absolutely.
the squad, and it's a real honor to be in their lives too. So then when they become the leaders, it is like a legacy or something.
Well, for sure it is, because what we do is plant seeds of knowledge, possibilities, and connect them to pathways.
Yeah.
And when it resonates with them, then man, you know, that's what we're hoping for. And I believe in that each one teach one, and we've seen that unfold like crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like you have to you protect what you love. It feels like we protect our families, we protect what we love. And in order to love something, you have to be in relationship with that thing. And if you haven't been exposed to something, if you haven't built a relationship with something, you're not going to love it.
Right. And again, you know, the ability to dream, I can't say that enough. That fuels everyone's personal fire. That fuels your passions. It gives you motivation. And if we are able to help people see that I have solutions, that I am a natural born leader, or I can step up and be the change that is needed right now, then we've really done a good thing. That is legacy in action, actually. And I feel that as we do that, that ripple effect just continues. Then they do that for someone, and then it just continues.
Yeah, it doesn't get old for me, and it's I'm an older person, but it's when you work in your own backyard, when you work cleaning up your alley, when you work engaging your community on something, whether it's building a garden or having a community health event, it connects you to your community, and
For sure.
it gives you a different lens of what you can be, of who you can be. And
Well,
I love
and
that about nature too.
Yes, but I also think it connects us in a deeper way to who we are. it,
Yeah.
it brings out things in us that we didn't realize we had going for us.
It keeps reminding you over and over. The more you essentially give or like work or bring people together, or go with people who are coming together, it makes you feel part of something individually and collectively. That
Yes,
is nice.
yes, because we all are a part of, a large community, but um, I feel that environmentalism is a good way to bring us together because it helps us to stoke that fire of unified love for environment because there's always something that we can do individually to support the earth's resilience, to make a difference in our neighborhood, our block, our school, our church, our social circle, even. Um, just having that ability to uh, bring people together around food, around friendship, around love of the earth, that's something that's never going to get old.
Yeah, nature, activity, recreation, and even you can start to see yourself as part of this community the more you participate in that community, and that connection that comes with community is really nice. Um, I know you personally, so I know there's been barriers, challenges. From what you feel comfortable sharing, what's over time been the like, whether it's systemic or individual barriers, challenges that you faced in this work?
Well, I would say they exist in different kinds of categories. So, for example, when you're in the human to human sphere of just wanting to share education, sometimes you have to have a lot of patience because people aren't as knowledgeable about what you want to talk to them about. So you've got to extend um, patience to help their education curve get up there. It challenges you to where if the approach you used this time was not really effective, how can I be more appealing to convey this information, to connect with somebody on this level? Then also you think about resources that are out there to empower you, like grants and things. Sometimes there are barriers there because um, if you don't have a good way to tell your story, or if you don't have a strong narrative, so to speak, then funders don't value what you can do to help their missions be more enlivened. Because really, that's the relationship of a grant. The grantor needs the grantee, to help share. And so being able to connect with more grantors that are interested in the equity work is key. Helping grantors understand that how their dollars can be used effectively and leveraged. Sometimes there are barriers there. Um, and then, um, with the way that life just keeps changing, where people are more and more encouraged to be on their phone and utilizing apps versus being in natural space. Sometimes that can be a barrier where, people don't have as much interest in doing things because, hey, they're trapped in that virtual world. So I feel like those are kind of examples of barriers that you can incur.
Yeah. Sometimes I think of this work as building resiliency, interpersonal resiliency, and natural resiliency, meaning in climate, the storm is going to come, and in our personal life, the storm is going to come. How can we, with the youth who we work with as an organization, as a partner with Mobetta Green Marketplace, how can we weather the storm? And it is based on natural systems that the outdoors can weather pretty good. Anything else that you want to add?
Well, just that collaboration is a really important way to bring these messages together to reach a wider audience, and also to create that legacy that we're talking about of love of community, love of self, love of environment, how the relationships that we build really are the key to the resilience that we seek. And that without having healthy relationships, you know, we can't really teach about health and environment. You know, when we go to a national park, for example, we're in a whole bunch of natural relationships. Like if you're in a forest or in the mountains, the trees, the grass, the plant life, the animals, that whole ecosystem is a set of relationships. And being in natural space teaches us about working together. You know, we kind of lose sight of a lot of that when we live in cities because we become on that more individualized plane about what I gotta do, where I gotta be, things like that. And then our phones, our devices encourage more individualisms because we get all these notifications that make us zero in on various things. And what I'd like to say is that environmentalism brings balance to all of that. It helps us to remember that our humble beginnings came from the earth, that everything that exists is a derivative of the earth, and that the health of the earth is important to our very existence. If it's out of balance, we're out of balance. And so we can learn little by little, step by step, and start at home even with building that relationship.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So hey,